Howdy tankers. Today we're playing the Tier 3 Soviet light tank, the T-46. I have this tank maxed out with the best gun, which is the 37mm automatic, which really is what makes this tank. It's pretty mobile, doesn't have very good armor. I am playing on Rockfield. I am advancing forward into a sniping and spotting position. And we encounter a Panzer IIIA. I aim in and fire at him. This tank is an autoloader. In this case, it's got a magazine with 6 rounds. Once you expend the magazine, you have to reload, which is an extended period of time. Every time you push the fire button, that results in 3 shots being fired. This is an enemy S-35. It's a very heavily armored tank for Tier 3, so I've switched to APCR. I don't want to use too much APCR because it's expensive, but when necessary, I'm going to use it. Now I'm heading down to fire at this tank, which is attempting to cap out in the open. Foolish thing to do. And I've switched to AP ammo because I didn't have any need to use the more expensive ammo. And I put some more shots into this Panzer IIIA, and he's dead. And we have a Japanese tank. I put another set of shots into him, and I don't want to fight 2 tanks at a time. I want to fight 1 tank at a time, so I relocate up here where there's an enemy Cruiser 3. Trying to expose only my turret here. And I make the mistake of aiming at the center of his turret, which happens to have pretty solid armor, so I bounced most of my shots. I don't make that mistake here. I aim at the center of his hull, and I pull back to reload. I don't want to be exposed while I'm reloading. I'm only going to expose myself when I can shoot. You notice I baited some shots there. I pushed up, pulled back, let him shoot at me, expend his magazine, and then I could kill him at my leisure. Now we have this S-35. I'm switching to APCR for that purpose. And switching back. Now the enemy team is dead except for one. He's a T-18 with a very dangerous gun, but very poor armor. And I'm not playing very carefully here. I should have been a little more careful. Put some shots into him. He takes away almost all my health, but he's dead, and we have won. That was 1400 damage, class 1 metal, 3 kills. Pretty good for a Tier 3 tank. Now we have one more. I am playing on Winter Melanovka, and this is a Tier 4 game. So I'm a Tier 3 tank in a game with a bunch of Tier 4s. Most of the time I would go up to the windmill on the right from here. That's in higher tier games, that's usually what the battle revolves around. But it doesn't always work that way in lower tier games, and I'm very aware that I am a lower tier tank and potentially easy prey. I'm looking to spot enemy tanks for my team to shoot at. And we have a T-18 that has rushed forward. I put a magazine into him, and I hit his engine, which meant that there was a delay, and then he exploded because he didn't put out the engine fire. I was about to go help my comrade over on the left, but it turns out that was not necessary, so I'm going to head up further along here, looking to spot the enemy. And we have a very dangerous tank. This is a Cruiser 4. It's a Tier 4 enemy tank, and he could easily kill me, but he's not playing very carefully. I empty my magazine into him, pull back behind here, and I'm trying to stay concealed, and he just kind of drove around and let me kill him. That does happen in low tiers sometimes even at high tiers. And here's a very dangerous tank. This is a Martyr. Got a very strong gun. Not very good armor, not a lot of hit points, but a very strong gun. I don't want to get hit by that, so I am hiding behind this rock while he advances rather foolishly. He's trying to dogfight with me, and that's not what his tank is for. So I keep moving around. He doesn't have a turret, so he can't shoot at me. Empty the rest of my magazine into him, and he's dead. Look around, see if I can have any sneaky long-range shots. It doesn't turn out that that's the case. Nothing. So I start moving up this way where the enemy tanks were last spotted. And we have a 38 NA on very low health. And I managed to sneak up on him. Now, make a little bit of a tactical error here. I decide to reload my magazine, which seemed like a good idea at the time, but then a Tier 4 Soviet tank comes up, very dangerous. So I had to back up and use a dead tank as cover while I finished reloading my magazine. But that worked out pretty well. So that was another good game. First class medal, about 1100 damage, 5 kills. Not bad for a Tier 3 tank in a Tier 4 game. As always, hope you liked the video, and stay safe out there.